Arma 3 Contact. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. What if humanity suddenly encounters extraterrestrial intelligence on Earth?
What if it encounters fucking intelligence more like?
Bohemia Interactive presents Arma 3 Contact, a spin-off expansion about the most important discovery in the history of mankind. As a soldier deployed to Livonia's militarized Nabor region, you will be among the first to study our alien visitors and determine their intentions. However, amid the tension and chaos, armed conflict inevitably unfolds. Arma 3's Contact military science fiction campaign arrives together with a massive new terrain and introduces new factions, weapons, vehicles, outfits, equipment and more to the wider Arma 3 sandbox.
Yes guys, this is a add-on. It's a £20 add-on as well for Arma 3. Quite a bit pricey, methinks.
And it runs like a three-legged 80-year-old asthmatic hippo, guys, which is a big fucking shame, to be honest with you. There are a lot of options in the graphics department of this game, but none of them really did anything. I think it's the way the game's been put together, to be honest with you. I think the big problem is it's the Arma 3 engine. It's a very old engine now, and I think it's time it was put out to pasture, to be honest with you, because what they tried to do in Contact, the engine just really didn't cope very well. I was getting huge frame drops from like 70 down to 13. I mean, you notice that shit when it happens. Normally, when you just get slight frame variations, 5 to 10, they're not even noticeable. But when you drop like 40 odd frames, you know about it. Your whole game stops and then it starts up again. It's not good when that happens. It didn't happen all the time, but it happened enough to notice it. Certainly in the 8 hours that it took us to finish it, it's probably happened about 30 times, it's a lot, really. Too much. But anyway, what's the actual game like? Well, it's not like anything I've ever played before, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a huge Arma fan. I loved Operation Flashpoint. I'm not going to go into all of that. I say that all the time when I'm doing an Arma review. I do like the game. It's a very open world kind of game. Makes you feel that you're in a real situation, that you're in the military. It's very well done. It's a very, very good sandbox game. And Contact is on its own island. It's a specially made island. A lot of work's gone into this game, which is probably why it's expensive at £20. And you do need Arma 3 to be able to play it, just to bear that in mind as well. But this is a different type of game than what I expected. I expected to be running around the woods shooting ET, but that's not what this game is. I won't post any spoilers. There's obviously going to be unintended spoilers, because I have to tell you what the story's about, but I'm not going to tell you the conclusion or any of the more notable parts of it. I'm just going to give you the rough plot outline. It's done in a series of cutscenes, which you have control of your character in, a bit like in Half-Life. You can't move, but you can move your head around and look, so it's better than just a standard cutscene. I do like the way they've done that, although some of the voiceovers and character scripting is a little bit shit, to be honest. But the story's very, very good. You see, this game is more about Contact, which is what it's called, than it is about whooping ET's ass. This is about you making contact with aliens. Aliens have come down to Earth in a series of visits. I won't tell you why, because that's a big spoiler, but they are here for a very, very good reason, and you don't know what that is, and neither does any of the other military forces. And you're on this island as your visitors on training on this island. You're not the natural defences of this island. It's Livonians that are that's just like a made-up kind of Polish faction. And obviously they are in training with you, but they take a different approach to the aliens' presence to what you do. Your job as part of the US military in this is you're trying to establish contact with help from this Scottish scientist, and he kind of gives you ideas on how to do that. And it's really neat. You have this little radio kind of jammer, and you can track signals You can track signals that's on Earth and extraterrestrial signals as well. You can interact with them signals, you can jam things with them and even hack things with them. It's really cool the way this works. And your job is to track the anomalies that is going on around the actual island and try and establish contact with its first contact with the aliens. Things go terribly wrong halfway through the game, and what you end up doing as a gamer, as a player, is avoiding enemy patrols. Russia gets involved with Spetsnaz, and the local inhabitants, let's say they suddenly become unfriendly, and you kind of feel like you're on your own, and you are for a big amount of the time in this game, and you are going through the woods. It's pretty much all in the dark, all at night time, hiding from patrols, hiding from aliens. It's really good fun. Some of the stealth in this game is really, really good fun. You also have control of this little... It looks like one of them remote bomb disposal tank things with an arm on, and you have full control over that. You have to get samples, and that's the kind of welcome wagon that you use to make contact with the aliens. And that's essentially the game. Obviously, it has a conclusion, but a lot of the game is not getting involved in shootouts. But there are some shootouts near the very end, some quite big shootouts near the very end, which I found really enjoyable. And that's pretty much... I mean, it's hard to do this without just kind of telling you what goes on, which I don't want to do, because the best part about this game is the actual story, the immersion factor of actually trying to find these aliens and make contact with them, tracking them down. And it is cool. There's a lot of cool stuff that I've never done before in Arma, such as intercepting enemy radio frequencies, pretending that you're their HQ and sending them on missions away from where you are so that you can get access to what they're guarding. They think they're getting a new order from HQ, but it's actually you hiding in a bush. It's really good fun when it works. Sometimes it doesn't work and you're up the shitter. And I have been killed probably about 8 times doing this game. It's very hard. I didn't find it easy at all, which is why it took us 8 hours. A lot of people have completed this in 6. It took me an extra 2. So there you go. It is fun. It is fun, but it's not £20 fun in my opinion, especially with the way that the whole game runs. That was a big... If it had ran smoothly, I might have been more inclined to give this a thumb up for the price, because it kind of... It is fun. I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of the time. I've probably enjoyed about, I don't know, 5 of the 8 hours that I've played. A few of them were a bit kind of boring, because I was just kind of thinking, running through the fucking woods again, my oath. You know, it just kind of got a little bit long in the tooth. Some of the mid sections of the game, some of the quests were a bit annoying. There's only 6 of them. Some of them have multiple parts to them though, so it does feel like you're doing more than 6 quests in the game, but there's actually 6 chapters, I guess, if you like. You get a lot of stuff with the game that you can use in the editors as well. A lot of assets come with this game, so it's not just the actual game that you're getting. You get a couple of new factions as well, and you get the little rover thing. So there is quite a decent bit of content in this, but it just runs like shit. It just really does. And I think £20 for this is just stretching it a little bit too much. But what I want to say is this: I'm going to thumb this down for them reasons, and I think that is the right thing to do. But what I'm going to say is, look, if you are a huge Arma fan and you are used to the engine and you want a completely different Arma experience, then for you guys, I would say, yeah, go and buy it, because you will enjoy it, because it is it's done well in the Arma environment, and it's a completely different type of experience. But when the shit hits the fan, you need to know what you're doing, and I'm sure you guys who are the veterans of Arma will relish the firefights in this game. I did, and I'm pretty shit at Arma. So there you go, guys. So Arma 3 Contact, although it's unique and although I enjoyed it, it just doesn't run that well, and I think it's just a little bit too much overpriced. I think if it was down to about 14, that would have been a lot better price. I think 20's just, that's just a few pound too far, guys.